Hey guys, what's up? It's Trunks. I'm coming at you guys today with another how-to video. This time it's going to be the Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 10 dip with the Golem, Bowlers, and Witch. I'll go ahead and get into the first replay and just go ahead and let it play for you guys, and then just basically describe the premise of what you want to do. You're going to bring two Golems, so basically they can get out in front, soak up all the splash, any traps, so when your Witches and Bowlers are coming through the core, they will be able to take them out. You're then going to want to drop 2 to 3 Witches and a few Bowlers, usually about 3, in each corner out to the side where they're outside of the splash range. Let the Witches get further enough outside of all of the splash damage so that way they're able to generate some Larrys before they step up into any point defense. But the idea is they will walk down these sides, and the splash damage that's on these sides will not be able to keep up with the Larrys that are there. So then they Bowlers will slowly be able to pick off the outside point defense. Now, when you're scouting one of these bases, what you want to do is you're looking for a base that has all of the splash damage relatively in the core. The big thing is you want to look for the wizard towers. If they have a wizard tower around the edge of the base, it's not going to work out to use the strategy that great because the Larrys will get picked off, and then your Witches will be stuck standing out in the open to be taken out. Now, in the core, like I said, you're going to have your Golems. You're going to bring all 3 of your Royals. You want to use the Eternal Tome ability on the first Inferno. You're going to get a Rage down to get through that first Inferno. And then you'll have your Bowlers following in with your Witches through the core that will pretty much just blow right through that first Inferno. You'll have both your heroes in there, so you'll have plenty of tanking, and that first Inferno will just be overpowered, especially with the Eternal Tome. Then by the time you make it to the backside, that Inferno will basically not be able to stand up to the amount of Witches, your heroes, because basically at that point you're probably going to use your Barb King ability to get through the last Inferno Tower. And at the end of the time, you'll have enough Witches and Bowlers that will just be standing to take out the rest of the base. I'll go ahead and jump back into this base real quick so you can kind of see. But if you look, all 4 of the Wizard Towers are relatively inside the base. None of them can reach with their splash to hit the outsides. And the back 2 ones, by the time you get to those, you're going to just be, your core Witches and Bowlers will be already blowing through the base. Now we'll go ahead and we will look at a second replay. Once again, you can basically look, I'll pause it real quick, but there's only a few Wizard Towers that are relatively close to the edge, but if you see the one up at 3 o'clock cannot reach the outside, you have this one down here at the bottom at 4 o'clock, and then you have one over at 9 o'clock, but none of them can reach the outside, so the splash damage that could hit on the outside is relatively low, so your Witches will have full-fledged advantage to walk through the base. Now, coming at the top up at 10 o'clock, as you can see, the 2 Witches or 2 Golems go down to attract the fire. The Witches are outside of any splash or point defense up at the top, and then the Bowlers come in. You'll basically drop your rest of the Bowlers and your Witches right down the middle. If you want, you can substitute the lineup. Usually I take 2 Golems, 10 Witches, and then the rest are Bowlers. But like I said, you can substitute if you want. Drop a Bowler and maybe take some wall breakers if you know you can get in easily free. Other times, you can just enter the base with a jump and take 3 jumps and 2 rages. You can play around once you scout the base to see what they have. But as you can see on this one again, by the time you get to that second Inferno, there's just too much coming through the core as far as the Witches are producing. The Bowlers are, smashing through. You have, like I said, once again, the Witches and Bowlers, they just walk down the side of the base. And you pretty much just overpower this base. The Town Hall 10 defenses just can't keep up with what the Witches are producing, especially under the Rages. And the Bowlers are just standing in the back, chucking rocks, taking out all of the point defense and the splash damage before anything get to it. And you have your Golems out front, obviously, soaking up all of those traps, spring traps, big bombs that could affect your Witches. So it's a little bit different than your typical Bowler Witch attack where you would just basically spam Bowlers and Witches, and then in the core of the base, you would normally die out a little bit if you hit all the traps because the Larrys would not soak up the traps. So the Golems are there perfectly to soak up the traps. I'll go ahead and go into this base one more time so we can take a look at it. As you can see, when you want to scout, make sure the first thing to look for is where are those wizard towers. The second thing is to look for an entry point. You want to be able to have easy access to the queen and an inferno tower. And the CC, if you can take that out on your entry, that's pretty good. It makes life a little bit easier, but at the same time, it's not as a big of a deal since it will get preoccupied in the middle, following around your golems and your Larrys, while your heroes will sit back in the rage and take out the clan castle. But basically, that's the idea: is have a few witches and bowlers walk down the edges, take out the point defenses, and then have your golems leading the way through the core with your heroes and some bowlers and witches behind it. But that's going to wrap up things today, guys. Until next time, this is Trunks signing out.